shouldn't be homeless people in Nova Scotia.
Shouldn't be homeless people anywhere. I know someone that says she's homeless right now with 2 of her grandkids.
Wow.
Right? Like, that's not fair. Those kids should not be going through that.
The right channel.
You know what it is.
It's not just simply about having a place for people to lay their hat and call a home. It's not just about that. Because when all is said and done, you have to try and deal with some of the core fundamental problems. And I'm not saying that that's not a part of it. But it's not just simply build houses and build enough housing, because we know that this problem is going to get bigger and bigger. And what do we do? Have governments who's simply in the business of building houses? And there's an immense cost with it. So can you try and deal with some of the fundamental key issues? Extremely complex, folks. Perhaps there's not just one solution. There's not.
When I'm sitting here and I notice people staring at me, they stare at the addict, not me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They stare at, okay, I used to be a junkie and stuff like that, so that's still me. They don't look past that barrier.
Change, right?
You know what I mean? They don't think people can change. I've had people say that, oh, I'm homeless, so that means I'm automatically a drunk or an addict. Like, you know what I mean? No, that's not the case. You know what I mean? That's not why I'm homeless.
I was staying somewhere, and I had my own place, and I got laid off of work and couldn't pay rent.
I know a guy who has a job that makes $1,800 every 2 weeks is homeless. Why should he be homeless? You know what I mean? I also have other people that are homeless because they can't afford. You know, they got to choose between their medication and their rent. You know what I mean? So I find it also got to do with the cost of the rent. Yeah.
A shortage of housing is getting worse here. Mark Culligan is a community legal worker who says in 2020, Halifax had the worst vacancy rate of any major city in Canada. The number of homeless here has doubled since then. And patience is waning. In prominent parts of the city, temporary shelters have popped up, only to be recently pulled down by city officials, angering those who argue there's not enough being done for the homeless.
And I think the government should be able to step in and be able to put a cap on what they can charge for certain rentals, you know what I mean? There's a Shannon Park over there, there's all those military, why can't they tear that down and open up low income? You know what I mean?
100%, I agree with you 100%. It's always on the news, it's vacant land over there. They're not doing anything with it. You know, the city has people to answer to, I guess, right? So they pick and choose what they're going to do, what they're going to develop, but they need to put more funding into Halifax Housing Authority, people that can handle putting up low-income properties, right? Low-income units, they need a lot of them, and they should concentrate more on them.
Your previous caller hit it right on the head. It's endemic. It's at the base. You can't. How do you negotiate with somebody who may have a serious mental problem or an educational problem or unable to work for some reason? These people need help. There's no doubt about it. I am the first one to be willing to help. But tell me what you want from me. I can give you money. I obviously don't have the strength. But if I give you money, what are you going to do with it? Can I give you enough to get into a normal accommodation? The answer here is really, it's so diverse. I don't know that you're ever going to find it. But the counselor wants to, first of all, we know the CAO made this decision. Then the counselor that you were speaking to, right away, you got into the province having to take care of this. That's a provincial issue. Then he brought up a drug issue. And then you had a caller say, well, what's Mr. Houston going to do about it? Well, what did the government that's currently in office for 8 years or 7 years do about it? And what do you expect Mr. Houston to do immediately upon it entering office? Is this at the top of his list of things that need to be corrected? It definitely needs to be corrected. But how? I don't know. I have no answer for you, Todd. And I don't think anybody has a correct answer. I don't think the hotel thing is going to work out too well, but Hopefully it will for a while, and these people will be sheltered outside of the climate.
So much stuff has been given to us here, and the nice people in the neighborhood. Now there is the odd, jerk that told us to get out of the neighborhood, or they called the cops on us. One lady did. We were throwing garbage at her apparently. But no, this spot, we have definitely been able to get a lot of supplies for us and the dog here. In this spot generally, yes.
You can say we need more housing. I feel that's like a Band-Aid. I think that's really just a Band-Aid because we're always going to need more housing. I think it's better for education because we're not teaching any financial literacy in our schools. So that guy that said he works 60 hours a week and he still can't afford a place, he must have some bad habits, or you know what I mean? Like we should know what to do with our money. We should know about credit because right now I'm in a situation where my daughter, I told her she can't move out until she can buy a house because if you can't afford a mortgage, you're not going to afford rent because rent is just you paying somebody's mortgage.
There shouldn't be homeless people in Nova Scotia.
Shouldn't be homeless people anywhere.
The right channel.
You know what it is.